You're listening to Living Out Loud with my mom, Michelle Flamer. Yep, she's a flamer and proud of it. Get ready to learn about queers in your communities doing great things every week.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for coming back to listening to Living Out Loud. Today, we are joined by someone whose work and voice are making powerful waves in both advocacy and authenticity. Jared Keller, Senior Press Secretary at the Human Rights Campaign and a passionate mental health advocate. Jared has built a platform rooted in truth-telling, using his story to spark conversations about healing, identity, and the importance of showing up as our full selves. Under Kelley Robinson's leadership at HRC, Jared is helping shape a new era of communication, one that centers intersectionality, wellness, and visibility for every member of our community. I am so excited to explore the heart behind his work, the courage it takes to live boldly, and the light he brings to the movement for equality and belonging. Hi, Jared.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to add, or,
No, I think
how'd I do?
that was amazing. You covered everything. That was really good. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
I know it's fun to hear yourself like, wow, this is how people see me, right?
Right, a little bit.
It's nice. Well, I mean, you deserve it. And so before we sort of get into the crux of like, the wheelhouse of what you're doing in the moment today, 2025, I'd love to learn, because I ask all my guests if they would share their coming out story. And I feel like there's so much value in knowing before hearing where you are, like, that journey of where we started. And so
Mhm.
that's that storytelling piece that I really love about podcasts.
Yeah.
And someone might identify with what you're saying, resonate, or whatnot. So how old were you? Where did you grow up? And just tell us how you became you.
Okay. Well, I I didn't so much come out as I was forced out a little bit, as times were a little bit different when I was a kid. I was maybe 15 or 16. I was in high school and there was this guy I liked. And I wrote him a letter and I was still trying to get the courage to send it to him. So it was
Mhm.
in like a binder or a backpack or something at home. And one day my parents called me into their bedroom and I'm not sure what's happening. I don't really think much of it. I'm just kind of like, okay, sure, whatever. So I walk into the bedroom and my dad is holding the letter in his hand, and I didn't even realize at first what it was in his hand, and then he handed it to me, and I was like, oh God. Okay, here we go. Now the thing is, my parents aren't blind. They knew something. They knew. I was a little light in the loafers. They knew something was up, and I think that's why they went searching for something in the first place.
Hmm.
So they found the note. It did not go over well. I'm from a small town in Louisiana, uh, traditional black Christian family. My dad actually had two churches at one point when I was younger, so you can only imagine how poorly all of this went over. It was really bad. They weren't happy. They kind of put me on lockdown a little bit after that. I really wasn't able to go a lot of places. I kind of could just go to school, home, and church, and that was it. I There were some people in my life that they actually made me call and be like, "We can't hang out anymore. We can't be friends anymore."
God.
And yeah, it was a tough period of my life. It was a very dark time. I think for me, I grew up in the 90s. Times were different. You just kind of wanted to fit in, to be honest.
Mhm,
And I hate to
mhm.
say that now at, my mid 30s and so accepting and loving of who I am. But back then, you really did just want to fit in.
Yep.
I almost like went inward and became a wallflower because I didn't want anyone coming up to me, asking me was I gay, calling me a faggot. I didn't want to deal with it. And when my parents found the letter, it kind of all came to a head. But weirdly enough, even though it was a kind of a dark time, it also emboldened me because I
Mm.
remember thinking, well, if my parents know, these are the, like pretty much the only people's who approval I really seek. So if you know, then I don't really care about who else knows. And I
Right.
did, and I remember after that just being like, well, cat's out of the bag now. Like everybody knows, so I might as well just own it. And that also did not go over well, but I just stood 10 toes down in it. I was like, listen, this is just what it is. It did lead to a pretty contentious time between me and my parents, especially my father. But I think even when I decided to own it, I knew that that was a part of it. But
Yeah.
I just felt like I had to be myself, you know? Like I knew it was going to be hard. I knew society was going to give me a tough time in church and all these different things, but I had to own it. And I'm glad I did. It led me to where I'm at now.
Absolutely. Who was like one of your most accepting friends at that time?
Well, actually, when I was in high school, I don't know if you went through this, but did you have a friend in school where you both knew the other was gay, but you didn't quite say it at first?
I knew I didn't know I was quite gay. Like my friends knew before me. I was just
Mhm.
like, but I definitely knew there was some friends who were, and I wished that they would have come out to me sooner because I would have been able to support that a little bit
Yeah.
earlier for them.
Yeah. I mean, I went through a very similar thing. So one of my best friends in high school was Jamar, and he was my most supportive friend. But I was still pretending to be straight. It's like, okay. But I was like, in my head, I was this like super macho straight guy. And I even remember telling him that I was gay. And he was like, Jared, I already, I knew this already.
He already knew. He already
Oh,
knew.
right.
Are you still friends to this day?
Yes, we are. We are still very
Oh,
good friends.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
How was the rest of school for you? Were you an athlete? Like where did you float around at the recess, at lunch break?
Um, I wasn't ter well, that's not true. I was gonna say I wasn't terribly athletic, but I was on the track team for a little bit because back
Nice.
in the day I was more slender, so I was quicker.
By the
But
way, he has a lot of muscles. That's what so it's so I could see the muscles. So yeah, you filled out over the years is what
I
you're saying.
did, I
Yeah.
did. I always say I look like I ate the old version of me, but
You ate the old
right.
version.
No,
I love it.
seriously. But I ran track for a little bit. I kind of floated. I remember when I was in high school, I had a lot of female friends.
Hmm.
I don't know if you went through this, but I went through a weird phase of almost feeling like I was not supposed to hang out with straight guys. Like it was off
Hmm.
limits in some strange way. Like I couldn't engage with them. So most of my friends were girls, minus my really good friend Jamar. But
Because you
yeah,
were just fearful that they would think that you're hitting on them.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's such a fallacy, right? As we know,
Yeah,
like it's just youth that it just plays tricks on our brain
it
when
does.
we're young.
Yeah, it really does. And it takes a while to shake some of those things off. I remember even like in my 20s, so I moved to New York City after I graduated college in Louisiana. And even still then, I kind of
How
still
was
had
that culture shock? Was that a culture shock for
that
you?
was a culture shock. But honestly, though, Michelle, it was in the best way possible because I
I
went
love
from
that.
conservative Bible Belt South to now being in New York City, running through Hell's Kitchen,
Hell
like
yeah.
flirting with guys and going to gay bars and all this, and like no one cared.
The
Like that was the thing.
village.
Yes, it was amazing. And the interesting thing is being in New York, it wasn't even like people were necessarily rooting you on. They just didn't care. They were like, I don't care if you're
Wait,
gay or
what were the
straight.
boy bars called that back then? Were there any that are still
Let's see.
around?
I used to go to Boxers in Hell's Kitchen, which is still around. There was the Ritz, that's
Mhm.
still around. Me and my friend would go to Ninth Avenue Saloon. Um, I didn't go to Chelsea quite as much. We were in Hell's Kitchen quite a bit.
Yeah, I love
But a
Hell's
lot of
Kitchen.
it is amazing. New York City is amazing. Wait, Michelle, where are you based?
I'm based in Phoenix, but I actually grew up in Los Angeles. So West Hollywood was my coming out, where
Okay, so you're used to being in the gay stomping grounds.
it's true. It's true.
Oh,
I didn't come from a small town in the South or, somewhere in the Midwest.
lucky
So I
you.
think I think you're lucky that you actually moved to New York at that time because I think it probably really helped allow you to be your out self and be more authentic and be around
Yeah.
more and kind of navigate like what you like, what you don't like, whose energy you're attracted to, and so on. And also
Yeah.
like who's doing drugs, who's not, where you want to be, and all that. Because there's a lot that goes on when you're young
Yeah.
and vulnerable.
Yep.
And sometimes
So
that smile will get you in trouble.
it's so true though. Yeah, I think being that young, I was 22 when I moved to New York City, and being that
Whew.
young and just so
Yeah.
like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, it
Hmm.
can get you in trouble.
Hmm.
It was like good and bad. But I
You
think
you found your
overall,
you found your people.
I did. I did. I was very lucky in terms of finding a good, solid group of friends kind of early into moving to New York. And that is a blessing because large cities can be very lonely if you don't know anybody because there's
I
so
just said
many.
this to someone the other day. I said, if you like, she's an actress and she moved from the South to LA to be an
Yeah.
actress. And I said, LA is literally the loneliest place when you know no one. New York, at least, has its benefits because in LA, as you know, it's like even if you're visiting for work, you're in a car
Okay.
the whole
Right.
time. Like
Yeah.
there's not a lot of like real walking energy unless
Hmm.
you live in these like cute pockets of like Santa Monica. Like along the beach, you have more
Yeah.
of that. Or in San Francisco, you still have that feeling of like community when you walk out your door. And in New
Yeah.
York, you're walking everywhere and it's like it's hard not to just go, oh, hey, where are you going? Like and
Yeah.
just talk to people. But in LA, we're in these boxes
Yeah.
and it's very isolating to people
It
who
is.
first move there. It's really lonely. It's a
Yeah.
really hard place to be for newbies.
Yeah. I've heard people say that about LA because it's like you get in your car, you go to where you have to go, you get
That's
back
it.
in your car, and you go back home. Yeah. It's
That's
like New
right.
York is almost like a forced community. Like we're
Yes.
all on the train, we're all walking everywhere. So,
Yes.
yeah, but I will say that was one of the things that worked in my benefit being in New York because it did help me find a really good, solid group of friends and to make my, family who
Exactly.
were super supportive. Actually, when I first moved to New York City, I didn't go back to Louisiana for 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, because my relationship with my family is better now, but back then it wasn't. And to be honest, I actively was trying to put space
I mean, valid.
between.
You're like, I need to figure out who I am first
Yeah,
before I actually step foot back into the
right.
family and I'm able to meet you face to face, Dad, like eye to
Right.
eye, and like say, this is who I am, Mom.
Yeah,
And whether you love me or lump me, like I don't have to come back again, or you can still have your kid. Like I
yeah.
can still be a part of the family.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's tough. I think it takes a certain strength to put the space in between you and your core. Like
Yes.
your family is like that's your home base. When you don't have anything else, you have that. And so
Yeah.
it was a tough period, but I think it balanced out with the fact that I was in this new city. Like I said, I lucked up with friends, and
Yeah.
the first 3 years I spent Christmas and Thanksgiving and everything with my. I had a friend who was actually from New York City. He grew up in the Lower East Side, and I would spend my holidays with his family. But I
Oh.
remember it was like a certain sadness because I didn't have my family, but also like this is amazing, like such a blessing that I have a second family, and these people didn't
Yeah.
even really know me that well, and they took me in.
Well, it sounds like even from a young age, though, you learned the word gratitude. You had this internal gratitude about you. And what did little Jared, little 20-year-old, just coming out, having fun, what did you want to do for a living then? Like,
Well,
what was your dream at the moment?
I've worked in communications since it's been about 13 years now. Except for when I first started, it was very different from what I do at HRC. I worked in fashion
Oh,
lifestyle. Yeah, so
yeah,
like I used to lead shows during Fashion Week and work with different
amazing.
brands. Um, and that was always what I wanted to do, but I thought I wanted to only work in fashion. I did that for I did it for about maybe 7, 8 years and was nice, but I felt like something was missing. It was fun, but it was very surface. And I felt like I wanted something a little bit deeper. And funny story, I actually applied to HRC a few times before I finally got a
Really?
job there. Yeah, I applied there a few times before
You
they
were
finally
meant
was
to be there. It was like it was you were already manifesting it before it even happened.
right, exactly. But it did take a few times. But no, I wanted to be a publicist. I wanted to be at these like super amazing fun events and work with celebrities and just the whole nine, because when I was in Louisiana I would watch TV shows like Sex in the City, and that was escapism for me. Like, it's a great
Yeah.
show, but I
Yep.
would look at that and I'd be like, oh, they are in this magical city living their lives,
Yep.
doing like whatever they want to do, and I was like, I need to be there and I need to do
You
some
wanted to be
form.
Samantha.
I did want to be Samantha Jones. I
You
did.
totally did. I
Right.
love it. No, I love it. I mean, I was like, okay, where is he going? But yeah, PR. I mean, and she's
Yep.
just going from party to party, creating
Yep.
these things and creating events that really sort of speak to whatever brand, that she's doing. So it's so cool because when you think about like, and you, you've, it sounds like it's like turning some of this pain into purpose. And the fact that you applied a couple of times to HRC, how did it feel when you finally got that phone call and the offer letter for finally getting to work there?
Honestly, even before that, when they brought me into the interview,
Yeah.
it was
Did
like,
you
I
go up
was
to
like,
DC?
it was virtual. It was
Oh,
virtual.
cool.
Um,
Okay, good.
but I remember thinking it's about time, but also,
It's
oh, wow, it's HRC, because HRC is, I mean, it's a huge organization. I was just watching
yes.
an episode of Will and Grace, the original version of it, and Will has a HRC sticker in his
Yes.
window.
That's right.
It's a huge deal. It's like it's legacy. So just when I got the interview, I was like, oh wow. Because like I said, I'd applied many times. So when I applied this time, I still didn't think I was going to get it. I think I was just doing it. I don't know. But when they brought me in for the interview, I was I was shocked, but I was very, very happy to potentially have the opportunity to be there.
I freaking love that. So it's like when people see advocacy, it's changed over the years of like how people see it. What's your most enjoyable part of advocacy and like sharing the story or yeah, what do you find the most enjoyable part of your job?
Um, well, as you know, HRC is a political organization, but we also have the foundation side of it, which is, I've always said, is kind of the human side of it. That
Hmm.
is our programs and working with community-based organizations in smaller cities. Working on those projects is what really moves me and what makes me want to, get up out of the bed in the morning and continue the fight for equality. Because, I'll be honest, it can be exhausting,
I
especially
bet.
with the current climate we live in. It's
Yeah.
always something, and it can be a lot. But when I'm working with our Tori Cooper, who leads a lot of our trans focused programming,
Yeah. God,
um,
I bet it's amazing.
yeah, um, that's what moves me. Hearing people's stories, hearing people that were touched by HRC and the work, whether it's us giving them money to put on a Kiki ball or for HIV resources, like those things move me. Hearing the people's stories, similar to just like what we're talking about now, sharing our stories, that's what moves me. That's my favorite part. There's a lot of great parts, but that's the part that really, really moves me.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling you sort of in our pre-chat, like HRC has always been such a steadfast place in my life. Like when I hear or see something regarding anything with our community, the complete queer community, if I'm needing to fact check, I actually look to HRC to
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah, because I know that you put so much effort and care in
Yeah.
to to really educating not just the world, but also our community. And I think it's such a valuable, like being on the newsletter, or, seeing the blogs or
Yeah.
just following people in social media or on LinkedIn, where I do a lot of work myself. and having that as part of my feed, so that I can stay up to date with what's going on. I think it's become such a staple, a safe staple for me, that I know that you're not spewing lies or any, there's no, I actually go to you guys to literally like clear up anything that I'm hearing, and just to make sure, like, is this real? Like, do
Yeah.
I need to be worried about it, or
Yeah.
do I need to fight for it? Like what's the piece of that,
Yeah.
or where do I need to put my money? It's like, where am
Right.
I throwing money to? It's one of those things. But
Yeah.
I think the thing, like, what's the question you wish most people about the LGBTQ plus community and mental health do, like, but rarely do? Like, what's the question you wish people would ask about our community that they don't know? Like, do you have to sometimes educate people who are unfamiliar or have, you know, grew up in a real religious
Hmm.
space, kind of like you grew up around a lot of religion? Do you,
Hmm. Yeah.
how do you sort of what do you wish people would ask if they're like, if they don't know where to start or where to begin, or
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the most important things that I try to do is to normalize just being queer. Like,
yeah, it's great.
I think a lot of times people look at it as this enigma, this like super foreign thing. And I'm like, I have the same issues that you do. Like, I can't find a man, rent is high. Like, all of these things, we have a lot of the same
That's
things.
right.
Like, it's not this super abnormal thing. Like, obviously, we have parts of the community that do make us unique. But I also feel like sometimes people look at us like these foreign, like almost like zoo animals, like, oh, can I touch the gay man? It's like, I'm a normal person just like you. Ask
Yeah.
me my interest, and I like Beyonce. I like watching TV. I'm not this
Yeah.
like super whatever it is you think I am. Like, we're very normal people.
I agree. I agree. And I think that's part of the reason why I created Living Out Loud with the podcast, and, accentuating and highlighting queer voices, because I think there's so many people who don't even, they have this vision of a 1988 New York Pride Parade where the leather boys are leading the charge,
Right.
and then the dykes on bikes, and they think
Right.
that's our community. No, that's a fucking party for 24 hours.
Right.
That is not what our
Yes.
community then goes home, strips down the leather, and they're like, I can't wait to be in shorts. I can't wait to be in my t-shirt. I can't wait
Right.
to be cuddled up on the couch with the love of my life, or just with my dog or my
Yeah.
cat, and it's like, we really are like, we're not asking for anything more than just to meet us in
Right.
our human shell, right?
Exactly.
Soul to
Yes.
soul, baby. It's like, that's
Yeah.
what we're here for.
Yes, meet me in the middle. I think what would shock maybe a lot of non-queer people is that we have way more commonalities than they probably even realize. But like you said, people will see the Pride Parade or things in media, and it's like we kind of almost get put into this category of being one note, of like you're just gay and that's the entire identity. And yes, it's a part of it, and I am a very proud gay man, but that's not the totality of me either.
Right, right. It's not even like, it's okay. So it's been really interesting. I don't know if the boys come out later in life, or if you've met any that have come out, because there's a whole later in life movement right now with women,
Mhm.
as you know, later in life lesbians.
Yeah.
And it has been so fascinating as someone who's been out for over 30 plus years. Like,
Hmm.
I barely own any rainbow. Like, I do have a flag that
Hmm.
I can put out every now and then, but like when I feel like it, or during Pride or whatnot. But I just walk around being me. And I was
Yeah.
married for 18 years to my ex-wife. And we have a 14-year-old. We're living a very normal, like, we
Yeah.
have a house, we have a child, we have a
Yeah.
dog, like all these things. And so when I meet these like lovely later in life lesbians, Jared, it's so fascinating. It's so cute. They have rainbow on, rainbow
Yeah.
flare, rainbow shirt, rainbow watch. I'm like, I'm lesbian visibility every time I walk out of the house.
Yeah.
Because the bros are like, what's up? What's up, dude? I'm
Yeah.
like, what's up with you? And the girls are like, oh, cool. I can talk to you about stuff, and then, it's just so interesting because these later in lifers, it's like they've actually reinvigorated my
Yeah,
love for the rainbow and for
yeah,
just being proud. And I've
yeah.
always been proud. It's just I haven't been so loud. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. It
it's
is
just
nice to see the baby queers like
but
really
do
come
but
into
do
their own.
boys come out later in life? Do you know, like, have you seen that too?
I have. I have. I've met a lot of guys who were married, have had children. They were married to women, had children, and I guess for one reason or another, they got to a point where they were fully ready to,
Sure.
own who they were. But I have met quite a few, especially since I moved to DC, and it's interesting to see them start to try to figure out who they are within this community, but it's also really nice. They are getting to have that experience in a time where being queer isn't quite as tough as it was in the 90s,
Right.
early 2000s. So there
Agree.
is a bit more grace that they may have with exploring certain things. I mean, honestly, grace with just having the courage to be like, I'm going to fully be who I am, be with a man, be with a woman. Um,
Yeah.
it's nice. Nice to see. It's inspiring. It really is.
What sort of started you on the whole mental health and wellness piece? Because you've been really speaking a lot about that lately. Is that
Yeah.
from personal experience? Like where, or is it just that HRC really needs that lens to be shared because of what's happening? And like we, the elephant in the room, right? But I just choose not to like go deep into that side of things, but we all
Yeah.
kind of know what we're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So me talking about mental health actually started before I was at HRC.
Mm,
I'm going to give a bit of a trigger warning because I am going to mention suicide.
that's okay.
I had a
Thank you.
friend who I lived with in New York City who was also a black gay man. Um, We lived together for about 3 years. We were really good friends. When I moved here, he moved to Atlanta, and it was like 3 weeks after we moved out of the apartment in New York City, I found out that he took his own life.
Mm,
And that really, that can mess you up in the head in a way that you just don't know until you experience it.
yeah.
And I had had some of my own mental health struggles in the past, and I knew it, but I didn't too lean into it or focus on it too much. And after Gary, his name was Gary, after
Mm,
Gary's death, I was just like, you gotta pay more attention to this. You gotta get a better grasp on it. It almost felt like don't let his passing be in vain. Like do
yeah.
something with that.
Oh, I
And
love that.
so yeah. So
The
I
fact
started
that
talking.
the fact that it was such a challenging, I mean, my heart breaks for his family and
Yeah,
for his friends. I'm so sorry for your loss in that way. I have friends now who have been talking about this ideation of suicide. Like they
yeah,
just feel it's whether it's hormonal, whether it's what's going on in the world. So I
yeah,
think your voice in this is so powerful and it's really relevant, even though you started this process back, right? And now, and so you can keep sharing because it's really interesting how the evolution of, sort of where you are with all of that now.
yeah. Um, I think during the pandemic, a lot of us struggled because I mean you couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't do anything, and so your mind started to race. And it was during that time that I really started to realize that a lot of the things that happened to me in regard to being gay in my family, I wasn't over them like how I thought I was.
Hmm.
Um, it surfaced up a lot more during the pandemic, and it kind of forced my family and I, in particular my parents, to have some pretty tough conversations. Um, but through that, we were we got to a much better place. I remember one time I called my dad and he said something something the LGBTQ plus community, and I remember being shocked that he even like said that phrase. I was like, "Who the hell is this on the phone? Where is Daryl Keller?" Because that is not something he would even acknowledge. Um, so all of that kind of played a role in. to starting the mental health journey and just being a little bit more transparent about what I was going through in hopes very similar to this podcast, like being open and talking about things would help maybe someone who's a little bit younger feel like, okay, well, if Jared went through this or Michelle went through that, times are a little bit better now. So if they could get through it back then I can certainly get through it now. From me being queer, but also just being open about mental health to all of it. I hope that someone will see it and feel like, okay, I can do it too.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think the more we talk about it, the more people feel hopefully less alone. And also, like, how was building community? Because DC is a really unique place. I've been there. I have friends with FBI, lived in DuPont Circle, which is
Mhm.
fantastic and fun. But that's not the all of what DC looks like, is, and lives by, so has it been easy for you to create community? Because I find that having community, and that's one of the pluses of being queer, is that you can just be like, I need people, and people
Right.
will sometimes actually pick up, take the
Yeah.
call, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of gay people, queer people, especially in like my age group, have a somewhat similar story with their families. It was a little bit tough. And so I think because of that, we want to rally for each other. We want
Yeah.
to be in community with each other. And so if there's someone, a friend that I want to call, honestly, right now, because I don't know, I may have had some issue with my parents in regards to me being gay, I could because they get it. They
Yeah.
understand they might have gone through the same thing.
Totally.
I will say, coming to DC, I knew, actually, I didn't really know many people here, but my friend introduced me to one of his friends here in DC. And it was kind of almost like this trickle effect. Like, you
Mm,
meet one gay, you met 20 of them. So you
that's
would just
right.
become friends with his friends, and then you would get invited to house parties. And but again, like you were saying, that's one of the beautiful parts about being in this community is that we want to support each other. We want to
Yeah.
be there for each other, even though, the gays can be the way they are, but still, like we do at the end of the day, we support each other.
Yeah.
We're there for each other. We have to, I mean, especially in this climate, we have to support each other because in some ways we're all we have, like we
Yeah.
have to have
Yeah.
each other's back.
I so agree. What does the next couple of years look like for you? Do you have any big goals in mind? Do you have, is it
Um,
what's on the book for Jared?
Well, I really do love working at HRC. I really do enjoy it. It's a great work environment, and the work that we do is important. So, honestly, I probably feel like I'm going to be there for a while. I don't
Good.
really have any plans to go anywhere right now. So I'm hoping to just continue my advocacy work there, my mental health advocacy. Like, it's really interesting. I never saw myself as being an advocate per se. I was
Yeah.
just trying to live my life.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm sure you understand that sometimes just living your life as an openly gay, queer person is advocacy. Like
It
I've said
is.
many times, that is the greatest form of rebellion, is
Yep.
living in a world where the powers that be do not want to see you thrive because you are gay, because you're a woman, because you're black. Like
That's right.
they that's it. The game isn't set up for people like you to win, people like
Right.
us to
Right.
win.
Right.
So just existing and thriving, that's advocacy, that's rebellion. And I'm hoping to keep doing that. I'm hoping to hopefully inspire others and others inspire me. Like even you doing this podcast, like that's inspiring to know that you
Yeah.
are putting a voice to the voiceless, because there are still some people, even though things have progressed a lot, there are
Yeah.
still people that might not feel comfortable sharing their story or still questioning if they even want to fully come out or own that part of
So
them.
true. So true.
Yeah, it's tough, but
It is.
yeah, I hope to just continue the advocacy work. I really I enjoy it, and it makes me feel whole again, especially in the times that we live in.
How can we as a community support HRC more? What do you find would be beneficial and where people should go? Because I noticed that HRC is so fantastic, but in each state you almost have your own HRC,
Hmm.
and do we get involved in our community HRC? And that's like the start because they'll tell us sort of, hey, this is what we need to do, this is what we're doing, and this is the plan for the next 6 months. Like, does DC sort of like start like the calendar year and go, okay, this is what we're looking at as a
Hmm.
totality of how we want to show up this year?
Yeah, so at HRC, we have our North Stars. One of the most important ones for us right now is the trans community, just
Yes,
supporting them, being allies, really standing up for them because they are under attack in a way that is just outrageous.
it's
Even the
so
amount of
unfair.
it
Oh,
is the amount of money that was spent on anti-trans ads. I remember talking after the results
Jared,
came out.
we're lucky because we feel whole in our body.
Right,
Like,
I
we're
know,
queer and we walk out in our door. Can you imagine not
I know,
feeling like the man you are, right?
I
This, like,
know.
or me feeling connected to my boobs and my vagina or whatever you want.
Yeah,
You're like, I have so much empathy and
yeah,
care for people because it's like, if you're not feeling whole and then you have people trying to stamp on, do you know how much
yeah,
courage it takes, right? To
yeah,
come out as trans
yeah,
mask, trans femme, whatever it is. It's like, it
yeah.
is the hardest thing to do. And
It
so
is.
we all need to advocate for them. We really do, because we have it easy
Right. Yeah, we do. We
in
do.
some ways.
Yeah, we do. And I think about that sometimes because I've said if it was hard for me to come out as a cisgender, more
Right.
masculine presenting man as gay, I can only imagine how much tougher it may be for a trans person because you really got to say, I don't give a fuck what society thinks. And
Right.
that is tough,
It is.
especially now. So to have the courage to do that is that it's amazing. So, but that's why that community is one of our North Stars at
Yeah.
HRC.
Yeah.
But we have steering committees, regional steering committees all over the country. We were just doing, well, I was just doing some work specifically with the Georgia Steering Committee because we were in Atlanta with Kelley for Pride in October.
Hmm.
But we have our campaigns team. There is a state director in pretty much all the states. Some state directors do cover more than one, but they're state directors and they work with the steering committees there that do different volunteer projects, whether that be phone banks, participating in pride parades. They
Love
have
it.
different things that they do. And I would say if you're looking for a way to get involved with
Yeah.
HRC, I would start there.
That's awesome.
Because, donating money is great, but not everybody may be in a position to do that right now. So if you can't, you don't want to feel helpless. We have opportunities for you to donate your time as well,
I love
and
that.
that's what through the steering committees is one way you can really
See,
do
I think that's an important thing to say because people are struggling. It's taking longer to find jobs. With the government shutdown, there are people with no jobs now and still have a heart to want to help.
it.
And it's like, okay, look, if you can't afford financially, you're not fortunate enough to like throw money into different organizations that you feel really aligned with. I think knowing that you can go and just put in your time is just as valuable, and
It
it
is.
fills the soul up the same way,
Yeah.
and I think that's a really important point. So usually like near the end of, I always do a rapid fire. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Let's
I
go.
feel like you were born ready, baby. All right. Glitter or leather? What's your vibe?
I'm gonna go with glitter,
I
surprisingly.
Well,
I
you
was
said
the smart
Beyonce. I was kind of like, yeah,
right.
he's gonna say glitter just because of
You
that
already
Beyonce.
knew.
Okay, wait, I have a funny little thing. We were on a Disney cruise and we were doing bingo. And the guy was so hilarious who was calling it out. B11 was Beyonce, because Spanish, once, doce,
Oh, right.
Beyonce is Beyonce. So he was like, B11, B11, and then he was like, if you tell me to put a ring on, it was so funny.
That's
But
so funny.
Beyonce was B11, so I just thought that was pretty funny. Um, Pride anthem song that really gets you dancing, like you hear it and you're like moving.
What's
That
the
could be
one
any
with
music.
um oh, you got to show me love.
I
How
love
does the
that.
rest of
That
it
is
go?
classic.
I
Classic
don't
Show
remember
Me
the
Love.
name
Yep.
of it though.
You
I can't
got to
remember the name.
show me love.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. I'll
Oh,
put it in
so
the show
easy.
notes.
Yeah, yeah, we'll figure it out.
I'll
But
link it in the show
that one
notes.
gets you like, cause
It does.
it's like old school, but also works now too. It like gets you up and like shimmying. I
He's
love that.
shimmying, boys, just so if you're listening. He's so cute. Um, so most iconic queer legend you would love to share a coffee or a cocktail with, dead or alive.
Oh, Marsha P. Johnson. Like to
Ooh,
be at the helm of like you were there at Stonewall when all of that happened.
yeah.
Like you were such a big part of this movement. Like that is crazy. Again, the courage that took in that
Yes.
time to
Yep.
fight back against the police when they were trying to raid, like
That's right.
I would have been pissing myself. I would have been so scared. Like to have the courage, and I'm sure she still was, but the
Yep.
desire to push back outweighed the fear. I would love to sit down with her and just,
I know. How amazing would it be to just sit and talk to her about that time?
right,
God, I
right.
get the chills actually
Yeah, me
when you
too.
started
Yeah.
talking about it. I was like, oh, that's a good one. What would be your drag name if you could pick one out?
Oh God. I've never really thought about that.
Some people
Um,
say it's like the first animal and the street you lived on, right? When you grew up. Remember when those were going around?
yeah, I do. I remember seeing that. I don't know that I have one, but again, going back to Will and Grace, I
Oh
was
yeah.
watching an episode where Grace's drag name was Judy, last name Ism. I was like,
Yes.
that is amazing. Like I would want it to be something like that, but I'm not witty enough to come up with something like that.
Yeah,
I was
you
like,
need
that is
Max
perfect.
Muchnick to write it for you because he's the
Right,
writer
yes.
of Will and Grace. He's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm Jewish, so that always made me really
Oh.
laugh. I thought that was really funny. I love that store. I love that show. I mean, so let's see, karaoke song that always turns into a group sing along.
I mean, so my go-to karaoke songs are always Beyonce.
I love it.
And the last time I did karaoke, I sang Deja Vu, and it was supposed to be a solo. And then, of course, it did end up turning into a group. Everyone had also had a few drinks, so they all joined in.
Oh my God. Mine is always sort of, it's like It's Raining Men is always so fucking fun.
Yeah.
It's raining men. Hallelujah. And no one and everyone can be off key and it's just stupid and fun. Um, I really, really, really value and appreciate you. And I'm actually really happy to know you now. Like really like
Awesome.
you're lovely. And I'm so grateful that HRC has you and we're lucky to have you as part of our community. But I really appreciate you making time so late on the East Coast and still talking to me.
Oh, thank you. And for those that can't see me, I'm smiling ear to ear right now. Michelle,
Yeah.
that's so sweet. Thank you.
Well, I mean it. I mean, you're special, and I'm really glad that I got to have the opportunity to, hang out with you a little bit. It's kind of cool.
I am too. This was great. These conversations are needed though. Like
Yeah,
most
we
definitely.
need.
It's fun, but it's also like there are people that need to hear these conversations just to charge themselves back up. It's needed.
Agreed. And that's why I just want to have a little positive corner of our community. And if it's just I'm just a tiny little cog in the wheel, pushing it into a positive, happy space. I mean, not every story is happy, but I think we can learn from each and every person. It's like we need the two to exist, right? That
Yeah,
duality. Like you can't have joy without sadness.
right,
You can't you can't be in your best place yet if you haven't scraped from the bottom. It's
right.
like you can't become your higher self without going through the muck and and all of that. So
No.
I think it's really valuable, but I really just appreciate it. And I always say this, but if you hear or see of anyone in communities and you're so connected, that if anybody you feel like I should be talking to, please send them my way. Like, just say, hey, Michelle, go over to this person's social, check them out. I think tell them tell them I sent you, or if it's a personal friend of yours, a lawyer, it could be anything. It could just be anybody who's just doing and living their best life within their authentic being.
Yes, most definitely. And you know, HRC has a huge network. So if there's anyone you're ever thinking of, like, let me know. We may
Okay.
know someone there, definitely.
I appreciate you. Hey, thank you so much for tonight. I appreciate you.
No, thank you, Michelle. This was great.
Talk to you soon.
If you liked this episode, please hit the follow button and remember, sharing is caring. Until next week, stay proud, stay loud.